Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. LSU wearing the purple. In a thriller, 35-31, Garrett Nussmeier goes off. We predicted he would throw for 350. He goes even one better, 395. Almost a 400-yard game from the Nuss bus. Absolutely. Right now, Jaden Daniels is giving him a huge hug right now. Absolutely loving it. He's got the game ball. Nuss has silenced any doubts about what he's all about going into next season. And it looks like LSU have on their hands not only the true starter that we thought he would be, but he's gone that next step in his evolution. He threw an interception, but Nuss looked fantastic throughout this game. It wasn't just about putting up the yards. He helped LSU come back from two different comebacks, down 14 points at two different points in this game. At two different moments in this game, LSU were down 14 points, and he led us to comebacks, down 7 again, lead us to another comeback, and ultimately the win. Here's Garrett Nussmeier. He says, God is good. (13-19, 216, and 3 touchdowns after the pick. There was a 98-yard touchdown drive at one point. This is so sick. He has been waiting for this type of a moment, this type of a game for a long time. He basically got half of it in that SEC title game, but he was unbelievable in that game. 294, 2 touchdowns in that game. One pick, though. But then this game, his first start, in his 17th ever total appearance. And he goes 31 of 45 for 395 and 3 brilliant touchdowns. I mean, these were absolute beautiful plays. The red zone slant to Brian Thomas Jr. to win the game. Then you've got in the corner to Chris Hilton, which we're going to be showing you. The touch he had on that bomb for Brian Thomas Jr. You cannot say anything more highly about what Garrett Nussmeier did in this game. Let's put on the share screen here. You actually had a defense give Garrett Nussmeier a few stops as well today, with Mekhi Wingo getting some big sacks there to end the game. Look at these type of throws, though, that Nuss was making today. Just carving Wisconsin up right in the middle of these zones, just piercing these zones. Look at this thing. I mean, he was throwing things with sauce, with precision, with absolute just. There was a violence to his passing that was beautiful today. We'll get to those defensive plays, but we got to highlight what Nuss was doing. He had 298, 26 of 37, 298 after 3 quarters. Here we go. Here's another one from
It's starting to just get.
I mean, can you believe that? We'll get to where they show the show the highlights of how Chris Hilton got his foot in. There's maybe some questions about whether he got his foot in bounds or not. Look at that. From that angle, it looks like he's in.
My word.
What
Nussmeier is starting
from
to just
Garrett
get
Nussmeier right there.
filthy here.
I mean, he just the release there, the release from Garrett Nussmeier. He does not even think. That thing is out of his hand. Just here's another one, airing it out. Super bomb to Brian Thomas Jr., just like we've seen all season from Jaden Daniels. And now Garrett Nussmeier executes the same type of route concept, and he absolutely nails it for the touchdown. This was a big play in the game. Here's the thing. What Garrett Nussmeier did today wasn't just about padding some stats and looking, oh, here's some numbers. He actually made plays in moments that won LSU this game. Like I'm just pointing out here. He led the team to 2 different comebacks, down 14 points. We were down 14-0. We ended up tying at 14-14 at one point. Down 14-28, ended up tying at 28-28. So Nuss continuously led LSU back in this game. Damn, just receivers are just too good. And Mason Taylor. What did Mason Taylor finish with? Let's see. Mason Taylor finished with 88 yards, 7 catches and 88 yards. Mason Taylor was a big part of the whole dink and dunk thing that was going on, but it wasn't just dink and dunk. It was still extremely effective. They were able to really get a lot of drives going through Mason Taylor and kind of funnel the comebacks through Mason Taylor as well. The 98-yard drive, those type of drives began with a chunk play to Mason Taylor. 88 yards for Mason Taylor, his biggest game of the season. And then Mekhi Wingo comes back from the groin surgery and has 2 sacks in this game. 2 sacks, and profited a lot from Mason Smith's pressure. And now you got the first real preview. You can see it right there. You got the first real preview of what could be possible with Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo. Look at that. You got Mekhi coming around the edge. For that sack. That is just absolutely beautiful. You had Harold Perkins. I mean, I got to show this to you because you probably won't even believe it unless I show it to you if you haven't watched the game. But Harold Perkins, LSU linebacker, rushed for a touchdown. Yes, you heard it. Yes, he rushed for a touchdown. It was an absolutely hilarious play because he literally plowed the dude over. It was on the goal line, a running play, just absolutely plows the dude into submission. And, of course, you had Malik Neighbors breaking the all-time record. Right there with that, I think, 11, 12 yards pass there over the middle. Neighbors finished with 23 yards. That's all he would need. He would end the game at half. 3,003 total yards for Malik Neighbors. He is now LSU's all-time leading receiver in program history. I mean, it's a stunning achievement. And we're glad he was able to just pull it off and make sure it could happen, make sure it could at least happen. Get this thing straight, because it should have happened against A&M. There was the holding call, kind of ruined that. But damn, he's able to punch it through, seal his name as LSU's now all-time leader in receptions and yards. Crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And hats off, congrats, huge congrats to Malik Neighbors. Is he the greatest LSU receiver of all time? Is he? I mean, is that a fair question to even begin to ask at this point? He does hold two of the biggest records ever, and he did it in little more than 2.5 seasons. We're not even talking about him playing 3 full seasons here. He was injured for the first 4.5 games of his freshman season, and was still somehow selected to the All-SEC freshman team. He was that good. Somehow had 1,000 yards on the team in 2022, a year where he only caught 3 touchdowns, and then this season literally pushes beyond the limits of what is possible and what we thought was possible. And Malik Neighbors doesn't just say, "Hey, I'm one of the greats. Leaving as one of the greats. I'm leaving with an argument that I could be the greatest." I mean, we know he was robbed of the Blitnikoff. We understand that. So it sucks that he's not able to have that in hand, so that he could literally say, no matter what, I am the greatest. But to me, he's always going to be the real Blitnikoff winner. It's just, it's a damn shame that award was taken from him. When look at what Marvin Harrison Jr. did. He's not even opting out of the bowl game when Ohio State needed him against Mizzou, and instead he opts out, bails on his teammates. Malik Neighbors plays in this game, sets the tone offensively, helps Garrett Nussmeier get in rhythm because he's such an automatic, catch machine. And sits at halftime, plays the first 2 quarters, Malik Neighbors. It's very shocking. Malik Neighbors played the first 2 quarters, but he gets the record. 3,003 total receiving yards now from Malik Neighbors. It didn't all go Garrett Nussmeier's way, and I think that's what makes his performance all the more impressive, because it did not all go his way. Here's the interception he throws. Gets out of the pressure, moves up in the pocket, and then kind of flings it as he's kind of moving away. Watch this here. Kind of, see, look at his body shape. He's kind of like, it's all wrong. And we saw him throwing off balance, off platform type throws, but he would still re-platform even though they were off balance. You felt good with the ball coming out of his hands. This one, you can actually still even argue that maybe Brian Thomas Jr. needs to be more physical and get in front of that guy. But at the same time, I just think it's an off balance, maybe ill-advised throw by Nuss, but not a poor throw. It's actually still somewhat accurate, but this is just a great player, the leader in college football in interceptions, getting his 8th interception, I believe it was, on this play. And just him wanting the ball more than Brian Thomas Jr., Nuss not giving the ball more, of a chance to be caught by Brian Thomas Jr. than this guy. He kind of leaves it as a 50-50, just this bullet. This guy breaks on the route at the right time. Brian Thomas Jr. doesn't even know what's coming, and it's just it's a poor play. But at the same time, I think because of this interception from Nuss, I actually think it makes his performance even better because there's a lot of guys who are, there's a lot of doubts and there's a lot of pressure and the offensive coordinator left and this thing happened and this thing happened and people are wondering if coach is going to go to Michigan and yeah. All this bullshit is in the air. We just got AJ Swan, and now I threw an interception and now we're losing to Wisconsin and our defense is just ghastly, and like, what are you going to do? Nuss responded in a way with absolute sackitude. Um, just total. He owned the situation. He owned the moment. And he came out and he dominated Wisconsin. 395 yards, 3 touchdowns, 31 of 45. I don't think LSU came into the game wanting to throw the ball 45 times, but it was a symptom of being behind and understanding that Nuss can hurt a defense with a death by 1,000 cuts type of offense, as you saw. And it is a very intriguing preview for what we're going to see next season because maybe we don't have the run game of Jaden Daniels anymore. But maybe this kind of cut him up 5-6 yards at a time through the passing game, even to the running backs, tight ends, receivers, everybody, and then hit him on the big plays when they at least see it, suspect it. Look at that from Nuss. Look at that from Nuss out of the pocket. Maybe that's going to become the way of the future, and then you're going to have these type of plays when it breaks down. Look at this from Nussmeier. My God, look at this.
Looking for BTJ.
Just hurls that thing in there. What did you all think of Garrett Nussmeier's performance? Put me some type of comments in the comment section. I want to know what you all think because I think what we saw was something special today. Who knows what type of career in full he'll have at LSU over the next 1 or 2 seasons. But for an LSU fan, you got to be excited, right? Don't you feel like you got to be excited for what Nussmeier's bringing to the table with this? I mean, it's just, he looks in command. I mean, yes, there's going to be that interception every now and then. Just like with Jaden Daniels, there was going to be those big hits to the quarterback, like he was going to have to take some hits when he was going to run the football 15 plus times a game, like he's going to get hit. It's just, there's something about Nuss where he looks in such rhythm. When things were breaking down, when things were disjointed for the team, he got into the rhythm. He was the reason things started clicking. He was the reason for the turnaround. Like, that's what really is making me feel good about Garrett Nussmeier right now on all sorts of levels. Is he was the reason LSU turned this game around. The defense made some timely stops, but still the defensive line were pushed around and bullied for most of this game. They stood up and made some big plays at some certain times. But on the whole, this defensive line were bullied most of this game. We saw a surprising lack of Braden Swinson. I don't know, maybe he was out this game. Maybe I'm missing something I didn't hear about why he was absent. Let me try and... Greg Penn III had a sack in this game. I did not know that. Mekhi Wingo had the 2 sacks. I mean, that was fantastic. 2 sacks in the fourth quarter for Mekhi Wingo. Just beautiful plays. 2 TFLs, of course, with those sacks. Mason Smith and Jefferson also get sacks in this game. So LSU get 5 sacks in this game, most coming in that second half. Then Big Cat Iyer, if I'm saying that right, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. What's up, man? Happy New Year, bro. Lon, this is Venkat. Gotta give Nuss mad props. I thought he didn't have it in him to do this. You really? You didn't think he had it in him to do this type of a performance? Because I did. I mean, like, we predicted he would throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. But we predicted a 41-29 win. I thought Wisconsin wouldn't give us this type of a fight. Wisconsin did everything, fulfilled every check on the box that would equal a win against LSU this season, right? Especially without Jaden Daniels, right? And Garrett Nussmeier answered the call every damn time, bro. It was crazy. You had him throwing the football over the middle, through zone, over the top of the safeties, looking off safeties, and throwing it over everybody's head. You had him, beating guys in the red zone for touchdowns. You had him throwing it deep. You had him dinking and dunking to get us back in games. Back in this game. 395 yards. I really wish he had been able to get that over 400 just to, I'm a symmetry guy. I'm just like, damn, you should have had 400. Because 395 is technically 400 yards, let's be honest about this, but it's not. And it's something that bothers my OCD mind. I'm rewatching the game again, and Ashton Stamp's getting beaten for that pass over the top. It's worrying because Ashton, you just mistimed your jump, bro. The defense was all sorts of bad, and you just saw the same things again from Matt House. But as far as offense, as far as our quarterback situation with Garrett Nussmeier, and hopefully we can get Brian Thomas Jr. to stay. Him playing the entire game is a pretty damn good indication, I would think, right? But who knows? But with Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback, you have an absolute freak there. I mean, like, he just showed it to you. He just showed you what he can do. Barry Kennan says, "Happy New Year, Lon." What's up, Barry? How you doing, my man? What's on your mind? What's on your mind? LSU topping Wisconsin 35-31. I mean, that was a fun game to watch. That was a fun game to watch because it was explosive. You saw Kyron Lacey getting in on the act, actually, for some big plays, some yards there. Aaron Anderson had a chance to make a few plays, got the crap knocked out of him. The ball gets jarred loose. This Mordecai guy put up 378 against us. It was a game where LSU were up against it. We allowed 506 total yards to Wisconsin, and LSU amassed 492 ourselves. So Wisconsin outgained us only by 16 yards, but they still outgained us. Mordecai threw for 378, and it was a lot of plays where he would beat the pass rush, use our obsession to get sacks against our defensive ends, our pass rushers, and even our DTs, and kind of just wiggle his way through and just make a play on the secondary routes. And our guys would be lost every time. You saw Sage Ryan making some plays on the ball, though. He's the only guy who made any plays on the ball today. 2 pass breakups from him, 6 tackles, 4 solo. I think Sage Ryan had a good game. He had 2 forced incompletions through coverage that I saw as well. He was beaten on a few plays, and then he allowed that 50-yard catch that was called back for a penalty, so it didn't count. But he was beaten for some underneath stuff because you see it from Matt House. He's still calling these guys to be 15 yards, 10 yards off the ball. It's gross. It's just an automatic 8 yards for that Mordecai guy. Just has to throw it. And they knew it. Hey, it doesn't matter if it's their number one cover guy. He's off 15 yards. Just throw the ball 8 yards. You'll get an automatic 8 yards. Just throw a quick hitch. I don't understand why Matt House continues to run the same stuff, but what bothers me even more, and should bother you as a fan even more, and we should ask questions about this if it continues. Why is he allowed to call this same garbage over and over and over? I understand that he's a stubborn, veteran, obsessed, coach who doesn't want guys to play when they're young. I'm talking about Matt House. And he's very stubborn in that he's going to make sure you understand and fit his system, not making his system fit to you. There's nothing wrong with his system, only the players who can't grasp his system. That's how he coaches his defense. That's his defensive philosophy. Well, it's excluded some players who should be out there on the field, as you've been able to see. Guys like Whit Weeks, Deshaun Womack, Javian Toviano, Ryan Yates, Sage Ryan. Playing corner should not be happening. He should be playing safety. This team should have been basically playing with 2 cover safety sort of guys. And if you really felt you still needed Major Burns, you have Major Burns and then Sage Ryan alongside him. Sage Ryan is the free safety. And then you have Toviano. And then Zy Alexander when he was available out there. And those are still not your best options. Still not even close. Going into 2024, LSU are going to have an upgrade. Juwan Johnson, the freshman, is coming in. I think if LSU are still finding themselves in this exact roster situation next season, but with the addition of all of our freshmen, Juwan Johnson needs to start from day one. Just let the kid play, let him develop, let him become great. Like, mistakes and all, I'll take it, but just let him play. I'm not going to waste a kid like that guy. We're not going to waste any of his time letting some of these guys, some of these other veteran guys play who shouldn't even be playing corner. Move them to their proper positions. Move Sage Ryan back to safety. Give guys like Ryan Yates maybe a chance. Kylan Jackson. Ryan Yates can play corner as well. He can play nickel as well. They haven't been as creative as they could be. They've outsmarted themselves defensively. They've some of the things they do defensively is just like, what are you thinking? I'll see Whit Weeks make a great stop, and then he gets subbed off the field. Omar Spates comes on the field, and they run it right through Omar Spates' gap for a 45-yard touchdown. And the plays before, maybe the guy gets 4 or 5 yards, but Whit Weeks is flying over there and making a stop. And I get it. Whit Weeks missed 2 sack opportunities today. One of which became a big play, and one of which turned into a Major Burns sack. Or maybe even a TFL. I think they gave him a TFL for that play. Yeah, they gave him a TFL. So if Whit Weeks had been able to sack him in the backfield, it would have been a sack for Weeks. But then I guess statistically they counted it as a rushing attempt once he was out of the pocket, and then Burns got him. Kind of dumb. Major Burns with 1.5 TFLs, 13 tackles, 9 solo. It just still doesn't impress me. He was beaten all over the place, missed some wide open tackles that let huge plays go down the field. You saw some of these long burning touchdowns that we allowed. Major Burns, Andre Sam were back there the entire game, and I think it was a missed opportunity for LSU to give somebody else a chance back there. And there's a lot of options, and all of those options couldn't have been worse than what we have seen and been accustomed to with Major Burns and Andre Sam. And I understand. They're veterans. You want to send them out the right way. That's fine. Do they have to play the entire game, or did we waste an opportunity to maybe find out what we have, you know? Let's find out who we have here, what they're all about. We are presented here by ReleafMed.com. ReleafMed, Louisiana's #1 medical cannabis resource. Hit them up today, ReleafMed.com. Fill out the form. Get your help today. Get your relief. They're the best. All natural. Louisiana's #1 headquarters. And what else was, the #1 headquarters of offensive firepower once again at LSU today with a second different quarterback. It's very impressive. Very impressive from Garrett Nussmeier to, a Heisman quarterback has just left the building. And you have every opportunity to fold, to not rise to the situation, to be flat. And you start the game flat. You start the game in a rhythm, 5 of 5. But it's for minimal yards, LSU can't score. That we go down 14-0. And then Garrett Nussmeier goes like that, flips a switch. The game changes, and he takes over. And then he throws an interception. And it doesn't matter. He doesn't flinch. He doesn't blink. He doesn't back down. He doesn't hide. He rises to the moment, and he takes over the game. LSU wearing their purple for the first time in 23 years at a bowl game. The last time was the 2000 Peach Bowl. Thank you to my guy Stephen Miller for showing me that stat. That stat originally comes from Todd Politz. LSU have only worn their purple jerseys 4 times in a bowl game. This is the 4th time, and I loved it. But Garrett Nussmeier, all the unlucky purple jerseys, you lose your OC, which no one expected. Everyone expected LSU to not be having Matt House for this game. Not that LSU would have Matt House and not have Mike Denbrock. So that was probably a shock to the system. But with Joe Sloan / Cortez Hankton co-OCing it up, not only do you hand the ball to Harold Perkins, your linebacker, to score a touchdown, which is just absolutely just sick and top G, but then you throw just 3 just sick, nasty touchdown passes. Just absolutely slice Wisconsin to pieces in this game, like Garrett Nussmeier should. He should deliver the football with accuracy, with patience, with precise timing against this Wisconsin defense. However, with that defense on his own sideline, making his life difficult, just like it made Jaden Daniels' life difficult, where you have to score every damn drive. There's so much pressure to do that. You didn't see that. We were, Jaden Daniels had to score every drive, or we were basically out of the games. You actually saw LSU's defense get a few stops. Wisconsin's Wisconsin's offense only averaged around 200 passing yards a game going into this game. Their offense isn't up to snuff either, and they still scored over 30 points on our defense. But you saw why they aren't a high grade, grade A top shelf offense or program right now, Wisconsin, because LSU's defense were able to stop their offense, which is just unheard of this season, even when we were playing poorly. Even when we weren't really creating turnovers, we were actually able to get sacks on an offensive line that was bullying us for most of the game. And even though this air raid passing game from Wisconsin was nickeling and diming us and making some big plays, and we're making some big time missed tackles at the back end, we were able to clamp down on the passing game when it really mattered most in that second half. Whit Weeks was second on the team in tackles with 8 total tackles, half tackle for loss on the stat sheet there. And I think he had at least 3, possibly 4 pressures of the quarterback. I don't know why it doesn't say 1 quarterback hit for him. I know he at least had a quarterback hit. Jackson Howard had a quarterback hit and a tackle today. That's a freshman they barely played. He's been, a redshirt project from the beginning. He played a lot of important snaps. He was there in the fourth quarter and the final drives, not just on third down, but he had a quarterback hit today. LSU had 3 quarterback hits today, 5 sacks, 7 TFLs. Mekhi Wingo leads the way with 2 sacks. Now he ends the season with 4.5 sacks. He had 3, I believe it was, or was it 2.5 last season? I think it may have been just 3. Let's take that. Let's look that up. Mekhi had 3 sacks in 2022, and he had 2.5 going into this game. He ends the season with 4.5 sacks total, 5 TFLs, doing that in 8 games, whereas he played in 14. So he, in 2022. So higher rate of sacking, higher rate of tackles for loss. Mekhi Wingo under the radar, but had an awesome 2023. That's why he had to make our top 10. He was number 7 for this season. But my God, I really, Caleb Jackson had some big plays, as we showed you on there, with the catch out of the backfield. Nice patience. And then that dump off from Garrett Nussmeier. There's nothing there. Nussmeier dumps it to Caleb Jackson. Great blocking scheme ahead of Caleb Jackson. Caleb Jackson makes some people miss. And then Caleb Jackson takes the draw out of the shotgun, and he's gone. I don't think anyone touches him until he's inside the end zone. And 2 great back-to-back plays there from Caleb Jackson. But there was a moment where Garrett Nussmeier really said to me, "This is my fucking team. This is my game. This is my moment. We're winning this thing, and I'm going to show you that I'm the quarterback for the future for the LSU Tigers." It's right there in that fourth quarter. And he makes this brilliant play where he, third down, throws it into coverage through this zone, right? Finds this perfect pocket in the zone, hits Kyron Lacy for a big play. And then right after, throws a bomb, just uncorks a bomb to Chris Hilton Jr. Chris Hilton Jr. makes a great catch. This awesome catch, like up here by his shoulder pads. And then another play later, after I think of just a running play, Nuss inside the red zone, throws a bullet screen, a bullet slant right to Brian Thomas Jr. for the go-ahead touchdown. That sequence right there, if that doesn't say I'm your future fucking starting quarterback, that's my job. I don't know what would. It was incredible. It took you on a ride. He told you, like, this, I am the quarterback. Believe in me. I'm going to put you on my back. It was brilliant. It was inspirational from Garrett Nussmeier. It was powerful. He willed that team to victory. A team that was just missing tackles left, right, and center on defense, playing sloppy on defense. A team that started sluggish offensively, was not running the ball well at all. We were able to chew up some yards in the running game finally in the second half, just enough to make it 2nd and 5, 2nd and 3, and stuff like that, instead of keeping Nuss at 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, with these terrible draws, hesitation draws that would, ultra hesitation draw that would always get us a 3 or 4 yard loss. It was an absolutely riveting game, in my opinion. I think to end the season, that's how it's done. I love that. To end the season like this, watching LSU working a new quarterback, absolutely causing mayhem defensively, at least to win the game. And you see this quarterback look like the guy for the future. That's, to me, that's a special way to end the season. Because there's a lot of momentum offensively now. And the more you think about the offense, maybe the better you would feel. But at the same time, think about it this way. We didn't see a single one of the freshman receivers play in this game yet again. Shelton Sampson Jr., Kai Prean, Jalen Brown. We didn't see any of these guys play. Kyle Parker, I don't think he played. If he did, he played only a few snaps, didn't get any targets. What's going on? How come those guys aren't playing any snaps? Does this mean that Kyron Lacey and Brian Thomas Jr. are both going to stay? I think so. I think that what we saw today is maybe an indication of that. At the same time, what a missed opportunity when you had all these young receivers and this quarterback who need in-game experience to get this connection. A better way to break that ice and kind of seal that bond by, like, hey man, I threw you that bomb and you caught that one-handed thing. Remember in Tampa, like, we can do this. We got this shit, man. Like, Nuss as a leader thrives off of those moments, those baller moments that he can kind of share with his teammates and kind of, hey, I remember when you did this, like, you can do it again. Like, man, I just wish that Malik was also coming back too. It would be great if Brian Thomas Jr. for sure was coming back. It's just hard to really say if that's 100% what's going on here. But if LSU are not going to get Brian Thomas Jr. back for 2024, we are in an uncertain situation. We need to make sure, because we saw Aaron Anderson look really lethargic whenever the ball was thrown to him. The ball was thrown to him with accuracy. He just wasn't fighting for the ball. And he'd kind of let the defender just be all over him. And then the defender jarred the ball loose with a great play on one of them. And then there was another target where the ball was kind of off target and the guy batted it away. But he looks so out of place on the field, Aaron Anderson. It's so bizarre because this is a dude who is a former 5-star, but right now he looks out of place, out of shape, and it's very strange. He looked this way all season. I don't know how to comprehend it from someone who's so good. But yeah, Aaron Anderson, that's a guy who LSU, if he could step up, if he could be the real deal, well, hell yes, I would feel a lot better about LSU's receiver situation, the weapons around Nussmeier. Right now, if it's Kyron Lacy, a guy who still also dropped a pass in this game, and then also left the game hurt too. Let's don't forget that. This is a guy who has a history of being hurt. Made of glass sometimes. Damn, Chris Hilton Jr., man, right there. I just love it. I love it. If you guys have any questions, any comments, anything you want to say about this game, post it there in the comment section, because this was a awesome game to watch. I love the fact that LSU were wearing the purple jerseys. I love the fact that Brian Thomas Jr. caught 17 touchdowns this season now, with the 2 that he caught in this game. 17 fucking touchdowns. That's one shy of tying the all-time record, the third ranked all-time record at LSU, which is held by Justin Jefferson. There's Mabry Metzauer right there watching the LSU-Wisconsin game there at Wisconsin. That's funny. He's going to be in that class of 2024, and there he was in the background, Mabry on the screen. That's so funny. He was an LSU target at one point. LSU offered him, of course, and I think he really liked Jake Peets, and then we got rid of him, and so I think his interest went the second we got rid of Jake Peets, and it's like, but I think he's going to be a good quarterback for Wisconsin. I think he's going to be a great player. Mabry, he's a sick player, sick quarterback. I'm not sure, was that Jacobian Guillory getting a forced fumble later in that game? Let me look that up. Greg Penn. It was Jordan Jefferson who had the forced fumble. And Greg Penn got a forced fumble as well. I didn't see that. There's some great coverage there from Sage Ryan in a pass breakup there. See, that's the thing is, like, people give Sage Ryan a lot of shit, and he had I think he allowed a couple, like maybe 3 catches on him, something like that. But he allowed nothing big. He allowed that one play that was called back for the penalty, and then he clamped down completely, had 2 pass breakups. He is not someone I was worried about in this game, someone who I think deserves blame for LSU's poor defensive performance. I think that's really about the safeties, Burns, Sam. I think Greg Penn III, as great as he can be for LSU, he has some deficiencies. And I think when you take the speed of a guy like Whit Weeks off the field, you really, that gets it even more further exposed. Omar Spates is just not a good player. Harold Perkins, 1 quarterback hit, 4 tackles, and of course, a rushing touchdown. Crazy. Gofu had a chance at a scoop and score and like ran into somebody or something and could not get it. I think Jordan Jefferson dove for it at the same time or something dumb like that. And they both lost the ball. But they had a chance for a scoop and score. Ryan Yates had a tackle, freshman, on a kick return where the guy was flying. I mean, if Ryan Yates doesn't make this tackle, maybe this guy doesn't get stopped. And Ryan Yates puts the stop down. Mason Smith, the stat sheet is very deceptive, okay? It says he's only got 1 tackle, 1 sack, which is fantastic that he's got another sack to his name this season, 1 tackle for loss, and then that's it, okay? But I guarantee you this, when the Pro Football Focus numbers come out and the number for how many stats he had comes out, Mason is going to have a ton from this game. Like Mason should have at least 4, 5 pressures from this game. He was fantastic in that department. Mason Smith, he was working beautifully with Mekhi Wingo at times in this game. There were times, yes, that they were bullied and you wondered kind of like, where's the future here? You know, not just with Mason Smith, meaning, why is Mason Smith being bullied? Why is this happening? Why is this possible? Why isn't Deshaun Womack playing? Where's Mekhi Wingo? You know, and I understand they're wanting to shuffle and rotate and give everyone a chance, but we also want to get LSU their 10th win. And then you finally saw that lineup used on a 3rd and 13. LSU were down 14-0. 9 minutes left in the second quarter. A big play in this game. Wisconsin probably felt that they were sitting pretty. But 3rd and 13, Womack pins his ears back, comes in from the edge. But Mason Smith and Mekhi Wingo flashing up through that middle, specifically Mason Smith, is what destabilizes that play, ruins that drive, forces that punt. Mason Smith bearing down at you. Damn. The guy's like, oh, shit. Gets out of the way, Mordecai. Fly, Mordecai, fly. And then LSU are able to score and make it 14-7. And later tie up the game and in the end win this game. So, like, these are the plays that help win this game. And I don't understand why Gofu and all these other guys are put in the lineup. So we know Braden Swinson was missing due to a hamstring, but I don't know why Gofu is still in the lineup or Omar Spade's still in the lineup at linebacker when we can see how poorly they play when they come in. It's an injustice. It's a sick injustice. LSU top Wisconsin, though, 35-31. We are going to be writing a crazy article about this. Definitely keep your eyes glued to LSUOdyssey.com because big news is coming in droves. Not just about the coaches and about maybe a few players who might be leaving, players who might be arriving. But there's also going to be a surge of recruiting. And we said it the other day, and maybe you probably didn't believe us, and then Dominic McKinley commits right before midnight. So then maybe you do believe me. Maybe now I got you, your ear. DJ asks, who do you think is in charge of those players playing? Who do you mean, on defense? Do you mean on defense, DJ? Like, who's playing on defense? Or, like, just in total, the whole team? Because that would be Brian Kelly. But if defense, it should be Matt House. But then if Brian Kelly doesn't like what Matt House is doing, it should be Brian Kelly saying, no, we're going to do this. And then the defensive coordinator can say, well, hey, you hired me to let me do my job, so let me do my job. And then there can be that back and forth and that headbutting. But I don't know how you can see what we witnessed today defensively again from LSU when the issues are staring you right in the face. You can't deny it. You can't ignore it. Everyone knows what the problems are, and you continue to do them again and again and again. I don't know how LSU could continue with Matt House as defensive coordinator. I don't know how Brian Kelly would do it. Why he would do it. Continuity? DJ says yes on defense. Yeah, I think I just answered your question. I would say it would be Matt House, but Brian Kelly would be able to override him if he didn't like what he was seeing. But I think the question that needs to be asked that I asked earlier, kind of a rhetorical question to anyone, is the question shouldn't be why is Matt House continuing to run the same stupid garbage, soft ass coverage, defensive line like 1.5 yards off the ball, all this garbage, no man coverage, all this stuff, using the wrong players, Omar Spates over Whit Weeks, stuff like that. The two safeties that we play. Even last year when he refused to play Harold Perkins, the question should be asked, why is Brian Kelly allowing Matt House to continue to do this? Why is I get that he's allowing him to do his job, but if his job is not up to the standards of LSU football, why is he not only on staff, but why is he able to continue to? This was a lot of opportunity here. This was the 15 bowl practices, this bowl game. This was a major opportunity for LSU to find out what they had on roster. And I think this was kind of a missed opportunity here defensively. Defensively, it's a missed opportunity. You got some good snaps from JV and Toviano. Again, of course, you got some good snaps from Jackson Howard, which is great. But defensively, you had a lot more players that you could have found out a lot more about. And I think you settled to play these veterans all over the place. And I think it was a dumb move. And Matt House, the future is bleak if he is going to continue. But I expect you should be hearing news very soon about changes within LSU's coaching staff. And those might surprise you, by the way. So keep your eyes glued here to LSUOdyssey.com for what those are going to be. Offensively, though, everything is peachy keen as long as LSU can keep the weapons surrounded. If we can keep Nussmeier surrounded by weapons. There we go. If we can keep Nussmeier surrounded by the offensive weapons, like these guys, if we can keep Brian Thomas Jr. for one more season, my God. If, these freshman receivers would have been given an opportunity today, I think that was a failure, not giving them a chance. You did see that Mason Taylor and Nuss have a good connection. But we already kind of knew that. I think it's just who's going to be those explosive playmakers if Brian Thomas Jr. is gone? Kyron Lacey? Is that your guy? Chris Hilton Jr., is that going to be your guy? He had some moments there at the end of the game that kind of helped his cause. That touchdown catch was ridiculous. And then that one-handed shoulder play, where he made that shoulder catch, that bomb, that was a brilliant play as well. So if Chris Hilton Jr. is making a play to be that guy, that's fantastic. That adds to your depth. I'm still not convinced. I want LSU to stack and lock and load that receiver position. I will never go, oh, yeah, that's enough guys. That's enough. That's enough weapons. Just keep locking and loading it, because I want Nussmeier to have as much ammunition as he possibly can going into this season. Look at what he was able to do with Brian Thomas Jr. today. Look at what he was able to do. This is Mason Taylor's best game of the season. And also, LSU ran the ball, well at different times. Pretty god awful for most of the first half, but in the end, LSU were able to chip off some chunks of yards rushing the ball when it mattered most, inside the red zone specifically, is more, I guess, what I mean. But yes, LSU beat Wisconsin 35-31. Everybody, thank you for watching us all season. This has been epic. This has been awesome. LSUOdyssey.com, we try and write articles, we try and film podcasts, previews, interviews, exclusive interviews that we do. We try and do it all. We break news. We try and do all this stuff, all of it at once, everything all the time. And maybe we fall short sometimes, but we're going to always try and swing for that fence. We're always going to try and shoot for the moon. Because why? If you're living and you're not doing that, then why the hell even get up every day? Because we're going to shoot for the moon every damn day. Like, that's what we're going to do here at LSUOdyssey.com. Sometimes we're going to miss, but we're going to keep doing it. Glad you enjoy it. Really, if you like what we do here, and if you listen to us, watch us on the YouTube channel, but you aren't an LSUOdyssey.com subscriber or visitor, you don't need to pay to go to the site. Most of the content is going to be free. The breaking news and some of the insider info that we post on there is going to be for subscribers only, but it is very cheap. $3.99 per month, and I believe $9.99 per year, which is a ridiculous price. And yeah, it's all right there at LSUOdyssey.com. Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year. This has been a great season for LSU, winning 10 games for the second straight season. I understand we have a Heisman winner. We wish we had done more. But with that with that defense, I consider this season, with that defense, a victory. Thank you, everybody. Go to LSUOdyssey.com, because we're going to be having some awesome articles about this game coming out very shortly, and you're going to want to check those out if you're an LSU fan. Not for casuals, though. Not for casuals. DJ, have a good one, Lon. Thanks for your work. DJ, you're the best, my man. Thank you for your watching, dude, because I know I'm a better writer than I am a speaker, so it means a lot to me if you're checking this out, because you could be watching any other thing, but you choose to watch us, and that means everything, man. We're going to try and up our game even more. We're going to try and have guests on here. We're going to try and do everything we can to give you guys the best entertaining product possible, while at the same time giving you the information and delivering the info that we always already have. So everybody, 2024 is going to be awesome, because this site, LSU Odyssey, only continues to grow. The opportunities only continue to expand. And I'm very excited about what we've got coming in the pipeline. And I'm very excited about what LSU are about to do this next month. Changes are coming. Additions are coming. And buckle up. The news is going to be, I don't think I'm going to be sleeping for the next week and a half. So just listen to that, me telling you that I'm having to prepare that much for what's coming ahead. And that's what you should expect with you if you're an LSU news junkie. So if you're an LSU news junkie, you want your info, you want your news, go to LSUOdyssey.com. And turn on the notifications for us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at Lon Phillips. Go there right now. Follow us there. go check out ReleafMed.com, our sponsors. Support our sponsors. Try and get us new ones by saying, hey, this guy's good. This guy has some good stuff, if you believe in it. And if you don't, just say, hey, Lon, you suck. Either way, we love you anyway. Go Tigers, baby. LSU tops Wisconsin 35-31. Garrett Nussmeier, MVP with 395 passing yards, 31 of 45, 3 touchdowns. An incredible starting debut from, should be now the unquestioned 2024 starter for LSU's offense coming up here. Great showing from Garrett Nussmeier. Everybody, have a good time. There was no off season at LSUOdyssey.com though. No off season. The season never ends at LSUOdyssey.com.